Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CC Productions. NFL Week 14 is already here, and I genuinely love the board. There's some fantastic games on the slate that I cannot wait to watch, including a great Sunday night football game between the Eagles and the Cowboys, which we will definitely get into. But more than that, I love the board because I feel like there's a lot of places we can make some cash. So today, I'm going to be giving you my 5 favorite bets for NFL Week 14. So let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. First up, we got Bears Lions over 43.5. These two teams played 2 weeks ago and the score ended up at 26-31. The Lions have cleared this line in 5 of their last 6 games, and I truly think the only reason this line is so low is because the Bears looked abysmal on offense last week against the Vikings when they only put up 12 points and no touchdowns. But if you watch that game, the Bears were moving the ball up and down the field. They genuinely just couldn't score in the red zone. They had 2 fumbles, and they had 76 yards of penalties, so they couldn't get in the end zone. I expect against that poor Lions defense for the Bears to actually get in the end zone, and the Lions in the second half against the Bears when they played 2 weeks ago were carving them up, so I expect more of the same there. Not to mention, these are 2 of the teams that are the best in the NFL and getting over. Lions are tied for first at 8-4. Bears are tied for second at 7-5. So 2 teams that love putting up points. Next, we got the Ravens -7. I respect the Rams. Don't get me wrong. They've been playing better football. They're winners of the last 3. The wins just don't impress me that much. They beat the Seahawks, who the Seahawks should have won that game. They just missed a game-winning kick that should have gone in. They played the Cardinals. Cardinals, obviously, not that great. And then last week, they played a Browns team that is so banged up on both sides of the ball. It's almost sad to see. I really like the Ravens. They're coming off a bye week and they're at home. And not to mention, Lamar Jackson is a dog against NFC teams for some reason. He's 18-1 against NFC teams in his career. And if you look at his stats and against NFC teams, they're far better as well. So betting on Lamar against NFC teams is always a safe play. So I will be doing that here, taking the Ravens -7. Next one, this is probably my favorite bet of all of them. Colts, Bengals over 44 points. Bengals defense has also been slipping as of late due to some injuries. They've given up 30 points in 3 of their last 4 games. In the only game they didn't give up 30 points, they gave up 400 yards to the Steelers, who hadn't done that in 3 years. Now, probably that was thanks to Matt Canada being gone, but that's not the point. Bengals defense has not been playing well recently whatsoever. On the other side of the ball, the Colts have one of the better offenses in the NFL. They were one of the only teams to score 20 points throughout the entire season until they played the Patriots and only put up 10, but I don't really count that against the Patriots. Those games are so gross. They should just be void every time. So Colts offense is always putting up points. They're also tied with the Lions for first place in overs at 8-4. So another team that loves hitting overs. Jake Browning also looked pretty good for the Bengals, had 356 yards in that game against the Jaguars. So hopefully he can get a little more magic in that, playing a Colts defense that isn't particularly fantastic. Maybe there's some more Jake Browning magic in there. So I think at home, Colts defense, not fantastic. Jake Browning should be able to do well using his weapons, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and get this one to soar over 44. Moving on, later slate games. I've got the Vikings -3 against the Raiders on the road. Vikings absolutely need a win. They are back at 500 after losing to the Bears, like we talked about earlier, in a game they definitely should have won. Josh Dobbs did not look good. Ton of turnovers. They need a win. They're sitting at 6-6. They're in 6th place in the division. And if they start losing football games, they can count their playoff hopes goodbye. They need to get back on track, and they need to do so by beating teams they should beat, and the Raiders are definitely one of those. Raiders obviously are not a good team. They're losers of 2 in their last straight, and the big thing for me in this one is also Justin Jefferson should be back. If he's not back for this, I don't know what's going on with him because he was expected back for that game against the Bears, but they played cautious, knowing they had a bye week after, give him an extra week to rest. So he should be fully healthy. Genuinely, he should not be coming into this game like 80, 90%. He said he didn't want to do that. He should be coming back 100%. I think even if he doesn't have a big game stat-wise, having him on the field is going to be huge for the Vikings because it's going to make the Raiders have to game plan for him. It'll open things up for Josh Dobbs, Jordan Addison, and the rest of that offense. So having Justin Jefferson back will be huge, and that is another reason why I like the Vikings -3 against the Raiders. Lastly, the big matchup, Sunday Night Football, Eagles and Cowboys. I'm taking Dak Prescott over 294.5 yards. I really didn't like any of the lines here. The over is super high. It's at like 52. Cowboys are favored -3.5, and they're really, really good at home this entire year. They've been great. They're 6-0 straight up. They just didn't cover for the first time all year, so they're 5-1 against the spread at home. The Cowboys, we've talked about it so much. There's 3 teams tied for first at 8-4 in the over. It is the Lions, it is the Colts, and it is the Cowboys. So they love going over, but the Eagles' defense is stout, and the Cowboys' defense has usually been really good at home. They slid last week against the Seahawks. And I also, on the other side of things, the Eagles, coming off of a loss, I expect them to bounce back and have a much better performance after getting waxed by the 49ers. So I really just didn't know what to bet here. Spread was -3.5 for the Cowboys. I'm like, I'd take the Eagles with the field goal. I didn't know. So I took a deeper dive into it. Dak should be free money here at over 294.5. Dak has cleared that, and in his last 4 home games, he's been playing sensational this year, and he's going up against the 4th worst passing defense in the NFL in the Eagles. The Eagles have one weakness pretty much on their whole team, and it's their secondary. I expect him and CeeDee Lamb to be able to carve up that Eagles defense throughout and easily clear 300 yards once again for Dak Prescott. So that is the best bet there. Those are my 5 best bets for NFL Week 14. Let me know in the comments if you're going to be tailing or fading, if you like my picks or not. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe so you don't miss any of the content. But until then, I will see you next time.